Welcome everybody to the Tech Woke podcast. On this podcast, we talk about cyber career and life. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk to Robert Lott. Robert works in networking, has more experience in the knock. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce him. How you doing, Robert?
Good, good. What's happening, everyone? What's going on, Chris?
Doing good, good. How's your day going?
It's going. Got a little bit of stuff going on with family life, but other than that, everything is all good. All good.
Understood. It's good. It's good to have you, especially
Appreciate
you're
it.
in Florida. I know y'all got the good weather. In DC, we kind of mix half and half. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. We having good weather today.
I got you. I got you. So Robert, can you tell me about a little bit about your early life?
Yeah. So early life for me, uh, if we just take it from childhood up until now, just childhood, pretty much military background. So just moved around a lot. And my pops, he was in the military, retired out here in Florida. So then after he retired out here, just kind of went through high school and everything, pretty much like that, and pretty normal after that. So I call pretty much Tampa's my home. So that's where he retired at. So that's where I'm
Okay.
calling home.
Okay, you
Yeah.
calling home right now. So like when you was in so after you graduated high school, what did you do? You just went straight to the military?
Oh no, I've never been in the
Oh,
military.
okay.
Just my pops was in the military, and for that reason, I did not want to go to the
I
military
understand.
because I wasn't feeling that path. I was a knucklehead. I tried to take another path, right? But so after high school, again, not really doing anything. Kind of just I would say that's the finding myself period of my life that I was into. Not into anything serious, just working little odd end jobs and stuff like that. I say probably the first serious job that I had after high school was actually a pool cleaner, just cleaning swimming pools out here. So that was the first gig that I really took seriously after high school.
Understood. So you just working retail, just doing different jobs to see where you wanted to go. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah,
So like when did you want to start getting to IT? How did that work?
it was kind of like when I was in that kind of phase of when I was cleaning the pools, I just seen there was like every job, that you're going to, I guess you could call them dead end jobs or whatever. I just started running into that. And it was really my pops that put me on. He was just like, if you get a certification, he sold me the dream. You get the certification, you get all this money, blase squaze, right? So I just went for that, right? And it was a lot of self study because I didn't have any money to go to school at the time. Again, because I was just working these jobs, so I just was like doing self study, and he taught me a lot of it, right? Because his background was in the military doing communications, so um, just doing that and started studying for the Cisco certification, the CCNA, and definitely took me a long time to get that certification. It wasn't just study, get the certification. It was definitely a road and a path I had to travel because I think I failed it like probably 7 to 8 times before I actually passed it. A lot of that was on me. I wasn't taking it serious still, and I was kind of fighting against it. But I'm glad I did it because it definitely opened a whole bunch of doors, especially with my kind of background that I had.
Yeah, even for me, like CCNA is a hard cert, but for me, I had to get the Security Plus, and people online make it seem like okay, we're just gonna pass it the first time. I failed that joke probably like two times. Then I had to really lock in to really get and pass the certification, but it did change my life also.
See, I agree. Yeah, I think, like you said, the narrative is a lot more of that. It changes people's lives. It's not more spotlight, I guess, on that grind, right? Of that work that you got to like when you really got to lock in. And then on top of that, like you might not just pass that thing the first time. If you do, kudos to you, right? Of course, there's exceptions to every rule, but some people, everybody's walk of life is different.
It's just different. Can you give me some of the things you did to really lock in on that the last time you when you passed it? Like what was the things you were doing to study for it? Just so the audience can understand.
Yeah, it was really just humbling myself and just really really tapping in with my with who I was as a person, right? Because at the same time, when I say I was fighting it, it was because I was still out there. I was younger. I was still out there trying to be in the scene, right? Trying to still party, trying to chase girls and this and that, right? And not really focusing on how important it is. I thought I could just read some stuff and just pass it. But no, I started dedicating my time. I think at the time I didn't even have a job, right? So I really focused in, and then I started like what I call like time management, which is just planning out my time and how much I was really focusing on it. And what took me was that I started to learn that I started spending 4 hours a day during the weekdays and then 8 hours on the weekends to study for it. And once I started putting that kind of focus behind it, that's when I started taking it more seriously. And again, those 4 hours, I wasn't just sitting there 4 hours straight. It's like hit an hour, take a break, go do something, hit another throughout the whole entire day of the 24 hours, right? I'm getting that in and making sure I get up early, right, to get that first hour out of the way. These little kind of things all just help me out because if I just tried to sit there and focus for 4 hours, I was fighting it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go do other stuff. And again, mainly just I had to change the group of people that I was hanging around. If people ain't studying or talking about trying to get better, everybody can't go with you, right? So I had to leave some of that in the past or whatever behind me, I guess.
Yeah, same with me is like I was like I want to really get this. This can change my life, and like you said, I was unemployed myself at the time, so it's like I need to lock in. Had to cut off all my friends, and I had to make sure every day, no matter what, like at least an hour or two on the weekdays every day. And I'm talking about I had to take caffeine pills, everything, just to make sure I did it. Like literally, I didn't want to take no Adderall or anything. I was like, let me just take some caffeine pills and just count coffee. And then, because I was so tired, and then like on the weekends, I would just do 4 to 5 hours. But I'm talking about nonstop. It was to the point I memorized the Security Plus book
There
to
you
this
go.
day.
And that's how it should be, right? To where it's like not so much memorization, but it's just part of your it's just a part of life. Like anything, just like working out or something. That's how that same kind of approach. Like, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym, but this is just me, right? This is just what I
Okay.
do.
So in this, what year was this? Just so I can have the context for the audience.
Oh, absolutely. So I started studying. That had to be 2008, about
2008. Okay.
2008, and yeah. So I was probably like 26 at the time. So
Okay.
it and again that I think that was about a I think that's when actually it might have been a little bit before that. Sorry. I think 2008 was when I got it. So maybe I started studying like 2006, 2007 around there.
Okay.
So about a year to a year and a half straight of studying. And again, it was me getting into that position to where I really locked in, and that's what got me over the hump. Because the first couple of months when I got introduced to it, I'm like, packet, what is a packet? And I'm coming. I have
I
no
understand.
no kind of IT background at this time. I was just cleaning swimming pools, right? So yeah, I had to learn what is a bit, what is a byte, all of these kind of new terms and stuff. So just fighting it, right?
No, I understand. So after you passed your CCNA. So what was the next steps after that? Did you start like looking for? How did you start looking for jobs, or how did that work?
Yeah, I fell into that thing that I hear a lot of people still going through today when they're trying to break into IT when you're applying to 1,000 jobs and everything like that. Like I did that. Like I made the applying to a job my job since I didn't have a job. So it's after I got the CCNA, I'm thinking, hey, you guys got to give me the job, and it just doesn't work like that. Because then you got the catch 22 because you don't got the experience. But then even my pops said the lab is experienced. So those are the things that I did at that time. I was still labbing to make sure I could say that I confidently like, no, I got experience working with this kind of protocol or whatever. And that's all I was doing after I got that CCNA was applying. And it took me at least 2 years just to land a job with a CCNA. And the first job that I landed wasn't even in working specifically with Cisco networking equipment. It was just in the IT realm because I was a cable guy. So we were dealing with modems and just installing telecommunications because I was installing phone, internet, and cable at the time. This is when people still had house phones and stuff.
Okay, so
So yeah,
you just got a position that was related to that. And how did you get that position? Did you like find a job on Indeed, LinkedIn? How did that work?
I think that job I found, yeah, it was on a job board. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it
Okay,
was Monster at the time.
Monster.
I don't think it was Indeed because Indeed wasn't popping at that time when I when I was applying. But yeah, it was just a job board, and I just basically applied, and they gave me a job right there for just doing cable installation. And again, it wasn't
Okay,
anything related to Cisco or anything, but I did put on there that I had a CCNA. So
okay.
they didn't know that I was at least kind of, and I had got the A plus in this time as
You
well.
got the A plus two. Okay.
Within those 2 years, yeah, I had got the A plus, and I had worked I had worked a help desk position prior to that too. I
Okay, so you
forgot.
worked at help desk. So all that you kind of like got that help desk information, that help desk stuff, and you got the cable. The cable work wasn't related though, but it was kind of sort of related. So you was doing that. So how did you transition to your next position? What was you doing in your next position?
Okay, yeah. So for the next position, that's when I got the position as a knock technician.
Can you
Uh,
explain? Oh,
Go ahead.
can you explain what knock is? Like
Okay, yeah.
what
So
does it
that's
mean?
when I got into the network operations center, and I was a
Hmm.
technician in the network operations center. And the network operations center is just um, it's a center where everything is centralized for kind of the networking portion of a business, whether it's monitoring or troubleshooting issues that have to deal with the network. And that's where I got my first position where I was working with Cisco equipment there. And how I got that, I just say by the grace of God, because I was again, even though I was working at that cable company, I was there for about 2 years. So this we're talking 2010 to 2012. Again, another 2 years before I even landed that position, and I was applying that whole time as well with the CCNA. So I knew that that CCNA was going to expire as well, right?
Hmm.
So because it expires every 3 years. So I definitely it was a grind applying because I definitely felt like giving up at times because I seen that it was going to expire, but I just kept going. And then it was just they just gave me a break. They just needed the company that I worked for was so small. It was a managed service provider company, and a managed service provider is they support medium to large scale businesses or enterprises that need networking support. So they just kind of contract a managed service provider, and they say, "Hey, you just take care of all of that stuff." And this company, they were starting to grow at the time, and that's when I was brought on. So one of the big contracts they got was Office Depot. I don't
Oh, that's
work for
even
that
better.
company
I got
anymore,
you.
so I'm pretty sure it's not bad to share that. But yeah, Office Depot was one of the company they acquired, so you can imagine that kind of business is so big. It's nationwide. I think it is even yeah, it was a global company at the time. So they had a lot of networking equipment, a lot of devices that need to be managed, monitored, and supported. So they needed the help coming in. And what helped me get to that position, I would say, is just making sure that when I was applying to these jobs, or even when I was getting a job, making sure I stayed in that IT realm, at least so people see, even though I didn't have the experience, at least they see, hey, he's trending toward becoming a network administrator, or he's trending toward becoming somebody within networking. They could see that on the resume, like from help desk to cable to getting the CCNA. All of these things are standing out to them, and I think that really helped me out to
That's
get
even
into that
better
position.
because you just started from the bottom and just slowly worked your way up. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, when you first started, and then too, I want to double down on something else. What people need to understand too is like when you first get into cyber or IT, people always like, okay, I want to get a job that's paying me like 100K. I'm only taking this, and this. But from what I'm hearing from you, you was like, okay, I'm going to whatever gives me opportunity, I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, Chris. I didn't even add that part in. Yeah, they definitely for the what I had, the credentials I had, that Cisco certification at the time. They definitely were underpaying me. Now that looking back on that, they were definitely underpaying me. But again, I traded that for the experience that I got, because that experience that I got was super valuable, especially working for a managed service provider. I was introduced to a lot of different technologies, not just Cisco networking equipment. I'm talking about from firewalls to load balancers to WAN optimizers. I just got hit with a whole bunch of technology that I
Everything.
could get my hands on. Yeah.
Okay. And then when you first started, did you have any mentors while you was doing this role to help guide you?
Yeah, absolutely. My mentor was actually the director there at that network operations center, and he started right from the desk, right from a network operations center, and worked his way up to a director in a short amount of time. So that can tell you kind of what kind of level he was on. And I just appreciate him even till this day. He was just an extreme mentor. Shout out to him, Walt. Walt was his name, and yeah, he was definitely a mentor, and he helped me out with everything, even to how to dress in these kind of office environments, right? Everybody else, you can wear pretty much whatever you want, but he said, "Hey, if you want to, I'm a director. You see how I'm dressing. If you want to work your way up, you got to dress for the part that you want, not the part that you are." That's when I learned that kind of stuff. And even though people were over there trying to clown on me because I was coming in there, booted and suited, but and just working on the desk, it still stood out to when it came time for raises and stuff like that. It stood out to the higher ups mind, like, because the director is like, I'm gonna have to face these people to say, hey, Robert wants a raise. Who is Robert? Oh, the guy. Oh, yeah, I see him dressed up all the time. Yeah, because I stand out in front of all the other technicians that aren't dressed up and everything like that. So just little things like that help mentor me. I feel like,
And
to
yeah,
get me in a good position.
even with me, I noticed that some of the best people in IT or cyber, including myself, it's like I was always taught. I always came there suited and booted every day because you never know what somebody, people, certain people can judge you and you don't even know they're judging you. So, and then also having a mentor helps guide you for people. So I recommend that to anybody that's listening. Just even if it's not at work, just find somebody to help mentor you in the field that you're doing.
Absolutely, a mentor, yeah, will definitely help you because it's somebody that's been there, done that kind of thing, and especially me being as green as I was at the time, it definitely was beneficial.
So, like, what's the kind of like the day to day of a knock analyst?
So as a knock analyst, you're going to be working again just a lot of troubleshooting. I would say
Hmm.
you're going to be, and this is being done through a ticketing system. So there's going to be a network that you support, and you can be doing anything from creating VLANs to uh, monitoring bandwidth and stuff on the network, and troubleshooting, because some people might say, hey, um, we're having a latency issue. And since you're monitoring the bandwidth, you could say, oh, there's a spike in utilization that happened at this time, and then start gathering a lot of information, right? Like, is it just one computer that's having utilization, or is it the whole entire network there? Is everybody affected? It's a lot of groundwork and a lot of customer facing work, and that's just like the hard skills that you need, right? The technical skills, like being able to configure a VLAN, being able to troubleshoot maybe a broadcast storm with STP and stuff like that. But on like the soft skills, you're gonna have to be able to communicate with a lot of different departments, everywhere from your technical higher ups like the engineers down to the technician that's actually at the site working, that you're saying, hey, go check the patch panel and see if a cable is connected to this port on this switch. So you can expect those kind of things. And having soft skills, being able to communicate with anybody at any time, even through email, you're going to have to communicate, because sometimes you're going to work with people that may not even be in this country. And from my experience, that's what helped me out was email communication, because I can really understand their accent over the phones. It's like, hey, just shoot me an email of what you got, and we'll communicate that way. So you got to have that skill up to date too.
Yeah, like even when I'm working in cyber, it's like what really helps is the soft skills like reading, communication, mainly communication, just understanding how people work, and just doing your own research on Google. So it's like people need to understand it's not all about just knowing the technical stuff. You got to know how to be a good human being with everything you do. So that's kind of what people forget.
Absolutely. I think even that research, like you said, that you hit on that research and skill, that's definitely a skill because you're gonna have to apply that level of knowledge, right?
Hmm.
Beyond just having just the awareness of what a routing protocol is or does. You need to be able to apply it to that environment that's happening and Googling stuff like, hey, this whatever this neighborship isn't communicating properly. What are some of the things that people have done, or whatever Google might have for you specific to that scenario, is definitely a skill, I feel.
Yes. And for this position, can you tell me the entry level salary range? What they might pay for entry level, so people can get an understanding that they're not going to get 100K starting off.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that you'll get 100K. I think that when you do, as I can only speak for like CCNA in my position in a
Hmm.
knock, I think you can get 100K with the CCNA, right? And again, there's exceptions to every rule. I'm not going to count nobody out. You may be if you can. These employers just want their problem solved. If you can go in there and prove yourself, I'm pretty sure that they can pay you. But
100%.
again, this is somebody that's got to pay you, so they're not just going to be paying anybody. But you could expect, I say, from entry level, anywhere between like I would say like maybe a 40 to 60K range. And I say I was underpaid. I think I was even like probably like 30 to 40K with a CCNA starting out. So that can just give the audience kind of like an idea of where I started out. And if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would definitely be just negotiating anything between the 40 to 60K range because, like you said earlier, that CCNA obtaining that certification, it ain't no joke. It's definitely not easy.
Yeah, even with me, when I first started off in cyber, I was an information system security officer. And for me, my entry level, I was getting like 75K, which is a
Wow.
blessing. It's a
Yeah.
blessing. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a blessing. But my colleagues around me say, "Oh, you're getting 75K. I'm making this. I'm making 100." I'm like, "Look, woman. Look, woman. Look, guy. I'm blessed to even be here. I'm not even qualified to even do this position fully. So it's like, well, I am qualified if they hire me, but it's like for me to come in entry level, that's a blessing. So I'm happy about that. So
Absolutely.
inflation over the years.
For sure. For sure. And you
So,
already know this thing is a marathon too, because you might
hmm
start out at 100K. Holla at me in 10 years, and we'll see where's what. Because
yeah,
again, everybody's got their own walk. You don't know what may happen to that person in their life. They might have some illnesses or health issues that may stop them from gaining more money and earning more income. So you might have that bag right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like you said, I'm blessed to have that 75K. I would take that, and that's how I took it. That 30 to 40K. I'm sure people were making way more than me when I first started, but I was never pocket watching and all that. That ain't gonna get you
yeah,
nowhere,
I was
but
never,
set you
never. I never
back.
check anybody's pockets because like you said, there's people that was making a certain amount that was talking trash, and I eventually surpassed them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
see, there you go. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
yeah. So going forward, so what did you? So did you stay in this role for a number of years, or did you move on to another role?
Absolutely. I stayed as in this role for a number of years. Not a knock technician, actually. I did move eventually to the lead of the knock. But my goal was to be a network engineer. At first, I didn't even know about network engineering or anything until I was working in the knock, and I was like, I noticed that's what these guys are working from home and all of that stuff. I was like, yeah, that's something more that I want to do. What do I got to do to get to that? And I actually stayed in the knock for 7 years of my career, and um, that was just due to complacency and not setting goals and just being super, super comfortable with the pay that I was getting because I didn't stay to the 30, 40 grand range. I definitely started moving up. I was getting other certifications like a Juniper certification I got. I also got another certification with, again, with WAN optimization and stuff like this. But I was just saying that I definitely stayed there longer than I should have. I think 3 to 5 years in that knock role is good. And then if I had to do it all over again, I would have started moving out. Again, it just took a coworker of mine, a buddy of mine. He was like, "Man, you got this stuff on lock. You should." He's like, "I got recruiters asking me all day long for network engineer position if I know anybody." And he found one with Verizon. He was like, "Man, just apply and see what will happen." And it was once they seen my resume and everything that I had on there, they was like, "Yeah, come on, where have you been hiding that type deal?" So again, shout out to my boy Ron if he ever sees this. He put me on. He was like, "Man, you," because I was lead for the shift that he was on, and just like any problem that we had, I had been there for 7 years, so I had seen pretty much every scenario I could see, right? So I was just like, if something came in, just come to me. I got the answer for you. It's gonna be in my, in my OneNote, or if I don't got it, I know who to ask around here to get it because I've been here almost a decade, right? So
Yeah, that's the thing about having a good network. Like, can you explain to the audience like having a good network to help motivate you, and also, telling you, hey, you might want to level up or stuff like that. Can you elaborate on having a good network?
yeah, yeah, that I agree, yeah, and I think everybody should know your network definitely is your net worth. Because I think it's a lot about perspective, right? You don't see yourself as maybe Chris sees me, or as I see Chris. I seen you when I seen your YouTube channel. I'm like, man, this cat, they need to turn them up. This is what
You're
this
right.
is. This kind of information is what people need to hear. Not all this. I mean, all of the other good, YouTube people that are putting out that content. Yeah, that. But we need more people like this that is putting out just down to earth, blood raw material, man.
Raw,
So
raw, raw. I like it raw. Thank you for that.
yeah, but so yeah, that's why the network is definitely because again that perspective that somebody being able to see you from your value from another perspective, and then that just gonna motivate you. That's gonna turn you up more. Cause I wasn't even thinking about. I was like, nah, ain't nobody else gonna hire me. I'm just gonna stay here and try to work my way up. And they were just like, get that CCMP. We'll make you a network engineer. And I could just never attain that CCMP. Again, those are personal reasons. I'm sure other people can grab that CCMP, but in my life, I just wasn't able to get it over the course of that time. I had kids and all kinds of stuff came into play with that. Not making excuses, but just how that played out. But yeah, having a network of people that you can rely on. Again, that's how I got the job, right? Was a recruiter hit him up, which in turn he hit me up. And I did the same thing with other people, like, hey, I got a headhunter looking for this. You want this job? And I ended up getting my homeboy a job at Disney through that,
That's good.
right? So because I was already working at Verizon, but I said, yeah, I know somebody else that has been in this position, and maybe they want to get into that position. So
Okay.
it just helps out.
Yeah, and I see that you became a lead. Can you explain in that 7, 8 year period, what did you do to level up to be? Because not everybody just gonna become a lead. Like, what did you do to level up your networking skills throughout that period of time?
Yeah, so the lead position, I think that it came really from the skill of just documentation, right? So from the documentation, and what I mean is if there was some kind of critical issue, a major outage with a network or something, then we had to get everybody what they call a bridge call. You had to get a server team on. You got to get the security team on, the firewall team on, all these different kind of teams, and the networking team, of course. And then it ended up being they just needed to do a server upgrade and reboot the server to solve the issue. Well, it's not nothing to just brush that under the rug. If you document, hey, these are the steps that the networking team took to isolate the issue to say, hey, we pulled out Wireshark and we did packet captures and analyze the traffic, and we've seen this is not a network issue. And then just being able to document that so the next time it does come or something similar comes, you can isolate the issue, whether it's a network issue or outside of the network, really quickly. And so that kind of skill of documentation really helped me out. And beyond that was now that I got documentation, now I'm putting processes together. So this is separating me amongst my peers because everybody in there else at the time, they're just clocking in and clocking out, going to their lunch, not documenting, doing their thing. They may have been getting certifications, but they weren't taking the time, maybe after work or before work, to sit there and put a process together. Now I have a process, and I say, hey, and I start sharing this process around everybody, especially, but before I get it vetted by the managers and stuff. Hey, I got a process for this kind of chronic issue. We see this all the time. Can we implement this? And then they work with me to make sure that it's all structured too, and they help me out with creating the process. But I started it, and then once you start sharing that information, and now you're just that kind of go-to guy. Next time they need a process, hey Robert, can you create a process on this? Oh yeah, sure, I got you. I'll do that. And then naturally you just flow into that kind of position. And that's just like one of the things that you can do to separate yourself. There's other things that you can do, right? Just not being not shying away from issues that come in. I've seen where people say, "Oh, that one's too hard. I'll just take an easy one." Like, uh, you just got to replace some equipment. I'll work with the guy on that because that's easy. I'm just here 8 hours. I'm just trying to collect the check.
Hmm.
Cool, if you want to do that. But when it's time for a promotion, you definitely got to be thinking about these people. They're humans just like you. They ain't stupid. They see what you're doing and they peep it. So if you want to play that game with them, and then it comes promotion time, they're gonna play that game with you.
Yeah, trust me, because I have some colleagues. They be like, they getting on me and this and this and that. And I'm like, dude, you're literally not doing anything. Like, what do you expect? Because people like, oh yeah, I want to get
Right.
paid. I think I'm just throwing out numbers. Like, oh, I want to get paid like 130. You gotta understand, this is a business. Is it beneficial for them to pay you that type of money? No, because you just gonna collect it and go on vacation to Cabo. You know?
That part. That
Yeah,
part.
like
Right.
literally. So I relate to that. And then also too, I relate to you too. What separated me, I wasn't doing good at my position. I didn't know what was going on, to be honest with you. I was 6 months in, and I was like, well, they probably gonna I have two choices. They can either fire me and I gotta go home to my girl and let her know that I'm a quitter, or I gotta make this work. And that's what I did. I came in early, left. I was coming at 5 in the morning. Sometimes I leave at 6 at night, and sometimes I'll come on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta do that stuff to excel, and that's why I can get mad on a lot of people. They don't talk about this stuff. Like you gotta do what you gotta do to excel. People ain't just about to give it to you. And as a supervisor slash lead, you see that on the opposite end also.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to even mention that. Yeah, that I was doing things like that as well. The coming in early, working those when the holiday come, you see everybody's I'm not working on I got family and all of that. At the time I didn't have no family, even till this day, even if I do got family. But I'm just saying I'll pick up a holiday shift. I'll work the weekend because buddy got sick or something. I was somebody that you could rely on to call. So that's another reason why they want to put you in a leadership. Why would they put somebody like you said in a leadership position that is always calling in sick or not available to step up when somebody else is out and they need somebody to fill that position? I'm not saying give your whole life to them, but again, you, like you said, it's nothing personal. This is a business, and they're in the business to make money, and they're not trying to just put money out there to just anybody. They want to put money out to valuable employees, and that's just corporate America. There ain't no way to finesse that. It's
It's
just
not.
business.
It's business. You can't get mad. Hey, they gotta do what's best for their family. You know, too. It's the owner gotta do what's best for his family. It's a business at the end of the day.
Yep.
Um,
And go get
so
your own business if you
yeah.
wanted to do. There you go.
So to go back to I heard you mention Wireshark, packet capturing software. Can you are people able to download that at home to practice with checking out packets? And what are the capabilities of Wireshark?
Yeah, so Wireshark that is for more advanced level troubleshooting. I myself personally haven't really worked with it a lot.
Understandable.
Um, Mostly, I've seen when they start pulling out these packet captures, and I can do basic stuff like setting up filters and stuff like that. But to analyze the packets, you're definitely going to have to know protocols and stuff like that. And why I say it's more in depth troubleshooting is because Now you're starting to look at stuff like the conversations between the devices, and that's beyond the third layer of the OSI model, right? When you're starting to look at these SYN packets and these ACK packets that are flowing through in the communication like that. Now you're starting to look at TCP window sizes and all these other kind of port numbers and all these other kind of things that are starting to be above IP addressing. So once you're starting to get to that level, it's advanced. But again, that packet capture, when a network engineer is pulling that out, it's really to just say, hey, let me isolate what our connectivity or communication problem is by looking exactly down to a very detailed piece of information of what's being the data that's really flowing across that wire that we don't normally see through command line in the actual equipment, whether it's a router or switch.
Okay, okay, okay. Also, too,
Hopefully that
is
makes
there?
sense. Hopefully that
It
makes
makes
sense.
some sense. I'm not familiar with
Okay.
networking, but I don't know what to ask in depth on that. But it makes some. I have to go back and check it out myself for my own knowledge. Yeah. So to
Okay.
move forward, for networking, is there anything somebody new in networking can do at home to get better at it? Maybe create a lab. Any sources, online resources that you use to get better, like at home?
Yeah, definitely the online training. If you have to go the freeway, definitely the YouTube University and all of that kind of stuff, right? But that's not going to be anything structured. There's definitely great creators out there. I know that Jeremy's IT Lab is one of them that's out there where it's all structured and stuff like that. Of course, Udemy and everything. I would definitely do the online training and definitely the lab. Packet Tracer is a free tool that's available for anybody studying for Cisco certification, and that's just it just simulates a network, and there's a lot of things that you can do in there with it, to even just doing how to simulate a network and make it look like something live that's happening, right? So a lot of labbing is what you can do on your spare time, and even better if you can get your hands onto any kind of equipment, going on to eBay if somebody's selling something for really cheap, or if you just know somebody that knows somebody kind of thing. I would suggest that because when I got started, that's what helped me out a lot. In my position, when I first started as a knock tech, I knew about how to console into a router and how it was going to look, and that I had to use a terminal emulation program like Putty and how to set that serial connection up. Because if you have to walk somebody through that and you've never, what I've come across is a lot of these remote techs that I work with, they don't even know how to set up a console connection to networking equipment, and they're relying on you as a network admin to have that information. And you don't want to be the guy that or a girl that's stuck on a call or whatever, and you don't even know how to do it, and you're going to have to Google it or ask for help or something like that, especially if you have a CCNA, right? You want to already be prepared for that. So just doing simple labs like that, just setting up a console connection right there is just a simple lab that you can do at home to prepare yourself if you're not already in that kind of position.
Understood. Okay, so we're gonna move forward now to when we're actually a team lead now. Can you explain some of your day to day as a lead, as a knock lead?
Some of the day, yeah, some of the day to day as the lead, I definitely got away more from the troubleshooting again because I feel like at the lead position I had a lot more experience. So as a lead, it was the day to days were more like just helping out um, the rest of the team on my shift, providing them with sharing as much information or just educating them on our processes. And that was my goal, right? To just try to make everything as a process so that it runs as smoothly as it can for them. Because, yeah, you're going to get these issues that are going to be sometimes it's going to throw me off, even, right? But
Mhm.
if we just stick to the same process, like, look, all we do is look at layer one, which is a physical layer. We look at layer two, which is like MAC address or the specific device layer, and then layer three at the IP address layer. And that's it. We're not looking at a lot of stuff. If you're spinning your wheels more than 15 minutes, that was my rule. If you've been put a hand up, let's figure this stuff out. You don't need to be sitting there troubleshooting a ticket for 2 hours, right? Especially in the kind of environment that I was working in. We're getting a call, we're getting emails, we're getting tickets coming in, we're getting all of these kind of things. Also, a lot of that was just a lot of more. I started doing meetings with the managers and everything. More of the managers, just meeting with them, and they need to know what's been going on as far as what happened on this day with this outage. We had an outage for 5 hours and it didn't get resolved until you guys got it over to the engineering team. So it was just like, hey, we got stuck because the engineer, he didn't help us out for whatever reason, or hey, we got stuck because I didn't educate them enough, So just keeping them informed and so that they can focus on whatever manager stuff they had to do. I know they got to do the payroll, they got to do the scheduling people's time off, or and they had to do whatever their higher ups have them doing. So it was mainly just trying to manage that part of it for them to make it easier for them for their life, pretty
Okay.
much.
Did you do any hiring?
I was involved in it, yes, in the hiring process, not direct hiring, but I was brought into meetings where they said, hey, look at this resume. We're thinking about bringing this person on. And they would just, what kind of skills do you think this person would need to work in here? Or maybe this person didn't have any skills. I remember there was one person that didn't have any skills, but they said he interviewed well, and I sat in on the interview, and just because he didn't have any skills, he just had that aggressive approach that, hey, I really just give me a shot kind of deal. And these are one of the people that after a year, I trained him. After a year, dude was an engineer and he was working from home, and I was like, hold on, bro, I just trained. So you know what I mean? It could definitely happen for somebody, but you just have to have that eagerness and you just got to get after it.
Yeah, because even with me, I applied for like 200 jobs, and then there was this one guy. I just listened, dude. I don't. I just told him I don't have any of the experience, dude. And I'm like, just give me opportunity, dude. I will come in
Yes.
there and do what I got to do. And he gave me opportunity. But how do you identify that when you're trying to hire somebody, or you want to put input on that? It's just
Yeah,
like, is it a
same thing
feeling?
like yeah, same thing like I said, you could tell somebody that is going to want to do more than what they're paid for, right? You can tell that just by things just like you said, just give me the opportunity. Those are one of the things, and let me show you that kind of thing. Of course you're not going to know because anybody can try to blow smoke, whatever the case may be, but you can kind of get that vibe if somebody's just coming in there and just wanting a job, or if they're coming in from a referral because their buddy works there or whatever, and they just know that they're going to just kind of cruise their way in there. You can kind of get that vibe from them, but really, it stands out. At least in my experience, the people that are really eager and really want to get after it and just need an opportunity, and especially it's because the people that these don't have a background in IT. I feel like the people that already have a background in IT, myself included, we get kind of jaded and we just kind of expect those high paying jobs. I've been in IT for X amount of years, and sometimes I need to humble myself as well.
I understand. I recognize that at least even in the Bible you gotta humble yourself. So even with me, I was like, oh, I deserve this. I listen. Even if my position now, I'm kind of like close to the max where I can go for my position, but I might want to double dack and become an IT and network and whatever. I'm willing to take that pay cut or do what I have to do to get that position if it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
like for identifying uh, do you have any input on promotions as a lead?
No, no,
Okay,
definitely not. Not in my experience. No input on promotions at all.
okay, but so as a lead, you're just managing people and just seeing who's doing the most work and things like that. What some of the best employees, what do they do to excel at the position?
The I would say the time they're studying outside of work or working on their skills or whatever the case may be. You can definitely tell the people that are just clocking in and just treating it as an 8 hour job, which is okay. And I guess I did have some kind of input for promotions because I didn't know if they were going to promote somebody, but they would ask questions like, "Hey, Susie may have called out 3 times. Is everything working out good for her?" Yeah, she's just having a hard time. She studies real hard all the time. Maybe she's just getting burnt out. Maybe she needs a vacation or two, or vacation or something like that. But every time I talk to her, it's always, "Hey, I got a question about this thing that I was studying. Can you help me out on this?" or something like that. So yeah, those were the things that separated versus the guy that just comes in, clocks in, and does his thing. It was like, "Hey, I'm going to go, I'm hitting this party this weekend, or there's some big event that I got to go. Oh, I can't help out. I can't come and cover somebody else's shift, right? I got some already planned. I already planned the trip to X, Y, and Z. Well, you more for yourself and all of that, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. This is just a job, right? It's just a
Hmm.
job. But again, your performance is going to show in that because you're always asking the same questions over. I'm like, I've dealt with the nightmare co-workers where I've explained, and I had to tell the manager, I've explained this process that we got to this guy like at least 3 times. I don't know. I can't just keep taking time to sit down with them every single time that we're going to work, and he's not even taking no notes, right? You notice that if they're not even taking no notes, I'm peeping it. I'm not going to tell you, "Hey, you should take a note." We're all adults. We grown men and women. I'm not going to tell you what. But if you keep asking me the same question over and over of something that we've already discussed 3 or 4 times, I got to let somebody else know because maybe it's my training, maybe it's me, maybe I don't know how to really speak to him, but somebody needs to speak to him because he's just holding everybody back. Because now I can't get to important issues with somebody because I still gotta. It's still a business, right? You still gotta help them. I can't just say, "Oh, I'm not gonna help you no more." I can't do that because I have a job as well.
Yeah, like even for me, when I first started as an ISO, in the beginning stages, my manager used to try to tell me something two, three more times. What I noticed is like sometimes he wasn't the best teacher, so I had to go to somebody else to better because he think I wasn't understanding. It was just the way he was trying to explain it to me. I just didn't understand, and then it got to the point where he just didn't show me anything. So I had to kind of like at that moment I was like, okay, I got to figure this out on my own. I don't care if I fail, but I'm at least try. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm trying to
Okay.
say. So it's like that's what happened. So, but just sometimes it just maybe they need somebody else. But I get what you're coming from on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, cause just gotta humble myself. Not everybody is gonna just, oh, just because Robert came to me and I should just get it. No, like you said, maybe it was just how I was explaining. But in this situation, no, this guy, it didn't no matter who was explaining to him, he just was doing his own thing. He would be on his phone all the time, sitting on his phone and just worried about other stuff didn't work. So it wasn't me at that point.
Yeah, because in our culture now, it's like even on TikTok, on YouTube, it's work as less as you can and get as when you go to other countries, these people are grinding. They can be getting paid. I'm gonna just say I throw out a number. I'm not pretty sure, like $4 an hour, but you can't tell they're
Mm,
making $4 an hour. So it's like you got to really take this seriously because some people have families, kids, houses. So anything can happen, and they're gonna remember the people that's not doing their work.
absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Okay, so you was at this management position. Pretty much, you're still doing it right now, correct?
Oh no, I left that. I was there for 7 years, and then I transitioned into a network engineer where I went to work for Verizon, and I started working as a network engineer, but got laid off there. And now I'm in another role right now for actually for a cybersecurity company, but they need a network engineer there. So I'm dealing with some kind of cybersecurity stuff, just managing vulnerabilities, looking at different threats on our endpoints and stuff like that. Just barely tapping into that, but I'm getting involved in it a little bit.
Okay, I understand. And just so briefly, can you explain like the differences between knock and network engineer?
Yeah, sure. So really the network engineer, so the network admin is just maintaining and supporting the network, but the network engineer is actually building it out and designing the network that the admins are supporting. So when I was on the other side, when I was in the knock, and I used to escalate issues to the network engineer, it used to just blow my mind. Like, how did they? how do they know the answer? Or how could they figure this stuff out? And I just used to hold them on such high regard. I thought they were just some gurus, but and they're sharp. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a network engineer, you're definitely sharp. I'm not knocking that. But when I got to the other side as a network engineer, I started to realize the reason why I'm able to explain to the network admin or people in the NOC what's going on is because I actually built out this network. I went through the config. I know how this tunnel, this GRE tunnel is built. And if it doesn't have, or this DMVPN tunnel, if you're missing a DMVPN profile on it, the tunnel's not going to be built. You can have every other piece of config built out for it, but if it's missing one piece of specific configuration, it's not going to work. From that to just being able to I've been involved where you go on site and they're like, we need an access point here, we need an access point here, and just watching it being built out from the ground up kind of thing. We're going to need switches here, and the cable run has to run this way because it's going to be so many feet, and just understanding it, the network as a whole, rather than just being in the trenches all the time and, oh, your network's down over here, oh, your network's down over here. You don't really have time to, and that's not your job, right? Their job is to design it, and their job is to know, oh, you're working on that network. Well, we're planning to do an upgrade here in the background. We're going to upgrade all of the iOSs. It's time for them to get upgraded. There's a known issue going on over there, so just they're going to just have to deal with that for the next 2 to 3 weeks until we get this change put together and start developing config to upgrade all of these iOSs. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the main difference. So an engineer is the person that's going to build out the whole entire network, and then the network admin just supports it.
Okay, for an engineer, is there any additional skills you need to learn to become one?
Additional skills. Yeah,
Like it
you're
that
definitely going to, yeah. So skills like Wireshark, you're definitely going to have to, so that's a network protocol analyzer. You're going to have to develop some kind of skills more in depth to be able to, again, look at the network more in depth. So I'd say those, so different tools like Wireshark. And I would say technically, definitely, you're going to have more understanding of advanced skills as far as networking goes with your protocols, rather than just basic level knowledge of what a routing protocol is. Again, the way I look at it is a novice, right, is somebody that's just aware of the technology. They may have even worked with it, but at the engineer level, and you want to be more proficient with it, where you're applying this knowledge, where you know BGP inside and out, these different kind of networking protocols, you know them at a more in-depth kind of level. And those are the skills you're going to have to develop if you want to get to a network engineer level.
okay, that's good to know. So everything you did laid the foundation to you get to that position. So
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Without doing that, it's hard to get to. Not to say again, I'm a big I'm a big person on anybody can do anything they want, but
mm.
again, it's going to be a lot harder if you don't have that foundation.
Yeah, me too. And everybody always asks me is oh, I'm in cyber, but they always ask me is IT or cyber hard? It's as hard as you want it to be. It's anybody can learn anybody. You could become a astronaut if you want to. It's up to you. You know, the world is yours, literally. You know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then, so I just wanted to touch on the last position where you currently do now. You say you mainly just check on vulnerabilities. What type of scanning software are you using to do that?
We're using the software is called Frontline or Fortra,
Mhm.
but um, I don't know how much more I can go in depth with that, but that's not really my main role there for them. My main role is network engineering.
Oh,
So
network. Okay.
I'm dealing with network engineering stuff. And like most recently, I'm working on trouble right now where there's no Wi-Fi connectivity. I didn't build out this network for this example or this scenario. It's already been built out. So I'm just really back to that kind of network admin, going to my fundamentals. Is it one person can't get connected? Is it every device out there connected? What's the IP address? What are you guys trying to browse to, or what kind of network? Which SSID? are you not connecting? Is it all of them? Is it just one of them? It's just gathering a lot of information right now.
Okay. That's a lot of good information. We're about to slowly close it out though, because we're getting close to the hour. And I ain't trying to hold too much of your time, you know.
Cool,
But
cool, cool.
what last bit of advice would you give somebody trying to become a network engineer?
Um, to just, I guess my advice is to just make it part of you, make it a lifestyle. Like I said, don't try to just get the CCNA because that was my mistake. I thought once I get the CCNA, I could throw all the books away and just forget labbing and all of that stuff. You'll learn quick. You'll learn quick that it's not about that because again, when you get on the job, you still want to be sharp. You know, you want to always be on point and everything like that. And this this information will leave you quickly. Technology with AI and all of this stuff coming out, you gotta stay on point. You gotta always just try to always better yourself by making it a lifestyle, by always increasing your knowledge. If you're going to be in this field, because you're going to have to study either way, so you might as well just get used to it. And if you don't, just know that you're settling and you're just going to get left behind because this technology ain't playing with us today. It's moving extremely fast.
Yeah, at this point, I just saw a commercial of they have like a AI coder, like in code for like you literally code for you. We can replace like a what they call them? What's a coder? Computer engineer. So it's like it's getting scary. I'm worried about for my job too. Can they get replaced by AI, generative AI? I'm not sure. You know, we just got to keep learning.
Right. Keep learning. That's one thing AI is not going to be able to replace is your authenticity, and that's how you can beat it by, just bettering yourself. That's something that AI can't do. It doesn't have the ability to say, "Hey, I want to just, I want to be a better Chris today or a better Robert today." It doesn't have that. It can only whatever information we put into it. That's how it starts to process information. It only has that kind of objective experience. It doesn't have that kind of subjective experience that we can all experience as humans. So yeah. But if you don't and you're not becoming more authentic and creating and learning constantly and creating a better version of yourself, you definitely can get replaced. Absolutely.
Yeah, for all guests, I always like to ask this question: what is your goals in the next 5 years? I like to pin it so I can ask you in the future.
Okay. Yeah. So my goals in the next 5 years, definitely I want to get a CCMP certification. Because that's just been a monkey on my back for my whole career. Again, I've been doing this 10 plus years and I haven't got it. I just want to get it. I'm a network engineer. I just don't have that certification. I want that. And I want to break into cybersecurity. And right now, I don't know what that entails. Right, I don't know what cybersecurity, but I'm following your channel, so I'm learning more about that kind of stuff of what it is. So in the next 5 years, I want to be um, at again, not at a novice level. I want to be at a more proficient level and moving up to kind of like an authority in that kind of space. As far as like my professional goals, that's what they are. Personal goals, just want to be a better parent to my kids and increase that net worth, get that bag.
Yeah,
That's the personal goals.
especially if you got them the daughters and the wife. You know, they want the Gucci, the Louis. So you gotta you gotta get that money. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Robert, where can they find you? Where can the audience find you?
Um, yeah, you can find me right now. I'm still brand new to this too, as far as YouTube and everything. Definitely check out my channel. Network Ninja is the name of my YouTube channel, and I'm putting out content on there. You could also find me on Medium.com. All Network Ninja across all of these. I'm posting blog posts about my journey through YouTube and just IT in general, and also I'm just on Twitter too. Again, Network Ninja is on there as well.
Okay, that sounds good. And I'll most definitely make sure I put it in the description so people can follow you. Your channel is very good. It's very informative for me not knowing networking and things like that. And then also to double back too, I'm going to have some other cybersecurity people coming in April. So hopefully you check it out so you can see what space in cyber you want to get into.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate that too.
I got you. So that's pretty much it, everybody. Thank you for watching the podcast. We got a podcast coming every week. Remember, everybody, to subscribe to the channel, comment down below, subscribe to the newsletter, and also download the podcast. It's on all networks. Thank you for watching, everybody. Remember, everybody, get 1% better every day. That's pretty much it. Peace out, everybody. See you on the next one.